All right, Krystal, what's on your radar?
Well, we all remember this great moment from the campaign trail when Dr. Jill Biden hit the trail to make the case for her husband.
I know that not all of you are committed to my husband, and I respect that. Your candidate might be better on, I don't know, health care than Joe is. But you've got to look at who's going to win this election. And maybe you have to swallow a little bit and say, okay, I sort of personally like so-and-so better. But your bottom line has to be that we have to beat Trump.
Well, that suck it up and vote Joe inspiring pitch seems to be landing with a new group, the Democratic establishment. In the last few weeks, Joe has racked up endorsements from 4 different members of Congress. You got Dina Titus, Kurt Schrader, John Garamendi, and Ami Bera. Former Obama Ag Secretary and Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack also jumped on board. But yesterday, he got a real feather in his neoliberal cap with the endorsement of former Secretary of State John Kerry. Kerry, of course, is most famous for his painfully tortured logic in trying to explain his Iraq war position and for subjecting us all to 4 more years of George W. Bush. Thanks a lot. His endorsement is, of course, of a very specific sort. There is literally no voter who's going to say, well, I'm a simple guy. I just vote for whoever John Kerry tells me to. But it is indicative of something more fundamental. The Democratic establishment is rapidly moving through the 5 stages of grief towards acceptance of a Joe Biden nomination. First, there was denial. His support is soft. We've got like 85 candidates. Surely one of them will break through to carry the centrist mantle for the next generation. Next, of course, came anger. It was an anxiety-riddled anger captured by the New York Times and other reporters in New York City drawing rooms where Democratic elites complained bitterly about the sorry state of the field. It was also captured by CNBC cameras with a rash of billionaires yelling about it. After that comes bargaining, which happened out of view and apparently was enough to drag Deval Patrick and Mike Bloomberg into the race. Now, as they see Deval drawing literally one person at Morehouse College and Bloomberg registering at 3% in the polls in spite of spending millions, depression is moving rapidly into coming to terms with Joe Biden. With all of his ineptitude and lack of Ivy League degrees and off-color comments and best years long behind him, they are starting to accept that he may just be their best bet. Warren was, of course, fun for establishment Dems to flirt with, a sort of teenage rebellion, there's no way I could take you home to mom kind of candidate. Pete was fun to date when actual commitment felt a little ways away. But now that we're well into the holiday season with the January impeachment trial set to suck up all the oxygen right up until the Iowa caucuses, now is the time for the establishment to get serious. To, in Jill's words, swallow a little bit and vote Joe. To help ease their sorrow and grease the skids towards acceptance, Joe is out with a positively Hillary-esque ad that is earning rave reviews from the established punditocracy. Take a look.
World leaders caught on camera laughing about President Trump.
Several world leaders mocking President Trump.
They're laughing at him.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
The world sees Trump for what he is: insincere, ill-informed, corrupt, dangerously incompetent, and incapable, in my view, of world leadership. And if we give Donald Trump 4 more years, we'll have a great deal of difficulty, if ever, being able to recover America's standing in the world and our capacity to bring nations together.
Did you hear that, everyone? The blackface guy and the dude whose neoliberal policies triggered literally the largest national strike in decades are laughing about Trump. Fancy rich guys in suits from Canada and France don't like him. We can't have him triggering the smirking disapproval of condescending global elites. Now there's a message that's going to resonate in the heartland. Can I just say, we literally watched this guy say grab him by the you-know-what, and he still got elected. If you think that you're going to get anywhere by arguing about his crass and undignified behavior, you have lost your mind. But it is exactly what the Democratic establishment and far too many Democrats want to hear. Trump is bad. Trump is embarrassing. Everything that's bad is because of Trump. It keeps them from having to do any soul searching or have any culpability for the state of affairs in our nation, let alone the world. In fact, what John Kerry told reporters about his Biden endorsement, it really says it all. He said, quote, "Our politics are broken, the country faces extraordinary challenges, and I believe very deeply that Joe Biden's character, his ability to persevere, his decency, and the experience that he brings to the table are critical to the moment. The world has to be put back together, the world that Donald Trump has smashed apart." Now, Seems to me like the world must have already been pretty smashed apart for the most powerful nation on earth to have elected Donald Trump in the first place. And if our politics are broken, both Kerry and Biden were spotted at the scene of the crime. Joe's new ad picking right up where Hillary left off and Kerry's endorsement all just underscore the fact that none of these people have learned a thing. They're all just planning to rerun 2016 with a new establishment candidate and a new set of outrageous behavior for them to clutch their pearls over. Only this time, Trump has all the structural advantages of being the incumbent president, plus an actual campaign organization and a Democratic Party determined to wrap themselves around the tree of impeachment. But it doesn't matter how much this path has been discredited and trod on the road to failure. The establishment can't turn back now. Joe may not be ideal, but he's really all they've got left. It's suck it up and vote Joe time for the establishment. Expect the media and the elites and the professional left to all start getting in line. Sagar, you can see it really in the media too.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the critical coverage of him, we're not seeing that anymore. Now they're turning their ire towards Pete, and I'm telling you, the coalescing behind him as well, this is what we got to do is happening now.
They loved that ad so much.
Oh, they
that's
loved
what they
it so
care about.
much.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, these, Justin Trudeau and Emmanuel Macron are laughing at President Trump.
And I love
I'm
that Boris
who
Johnson
cares?
is in there too,
Yeah, I
who
know.
they hated up until he started
They're like,
laughing
oh,
at
now
Trump.
he's laughing at Trump, and so it's made. It's like, yeah, that's really going to move the needle, right? I mean, it's like that, and it's funny. I said John Favreau and these pod bros go out there, and they're like, well, maybe you should go out to the Midwest and ask them. But just assuming that they don't care is so rude, and I'm like, they don't care. I'll say it right here. I don't care. Also, a lot of people don't.
And not just independents, like
Yeah.
no one.
No. It's just one of these things where these like global cosmopolitans who are, what they hate the most? They hate being able to travel abroad and being in like a Paris bar and somebody being like, oh, America, like it's so terrible what's happening. Then they're like, oh, you're right. Like that's like the worst day of their life is whenever they're gallivanting around Europe and somebody makes a comment about, Donald Trump and they're like, you're right, our country is so terrible. I mean, that is like the greatest thing that they have to protect themselves from.
Well, and
they don't understand that.
The whole time of this administration, the thing that outrages them the most is like his crass behavior,
Decorum.
which as decorum, right? Civility, like that's the thing that they just can't take about him. The Twitter outrages and the grammatical errors and the misspellings and all of that. That not the actual harm he's doing, not the actual policies that are damaged. We barely hear anything about that.
Zero.
It's the spelling mistakes and his outrageous, obnoxious comments or whatever. That's the thing that they can't take. But you know what? A lot of the country, they actually like the part of him making everyone here pull their hair out. I mean, they may say, I wish you put down the Twitter or whatever. No, they love when everybody around here runs around with their hair on fire because of some crazy thing he said.
Yeah, that's their favorite thing. And the John Kerry thing. I mean, my God, think about somebody else. I mean, other than Joe Biden, who else architected the neoliberal foreign policy that we've had in the post-Vietnam era? It's John Kerry, Senate Foreign Relations Chairman. I mean, look what he did in the Obama administration. Syria, Libya, Iran, TPP. I can go on and on and on. These are exactly. I mean, and who's his wife? He's worth like $500 million. Yeah. Nobody best exemplifies that kind of neoliberalism than John Kerry.
Well,
and you're touting his endorsement? That's insane.
Exactly. And he just recently was like, oh, climate change is an emergency. It's an emergency.
Right.
And yet you're going to pick the guy who's like not really going to do much about it. I mean, again, like it's all fine and good to say it. But when it comes to actually transforming things in a way that's going to impact their bottom line or their power base, forget about it. Sagar's Radar is next. Looking forward to that.